Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and in this video I'm going to be ranking the Judas Priest albums from worst to best. Yes, I finally listened to the two that I hadn't heard before. Also, I own all but five. There's five that I don't own physical copies of, but I have heard before. So with that, let's begin. The worst Judas Priest album of all time is actually one that I don't actually own a physical copy of, and that is Rock-A-Rolla from, I think, was it 1974, I believe? 1974, 1975, I think. I don't know, I can't remember the date of that one for some reason. Yeah, Rock-A-Rolla is complete 70s cringe. Like, it was not a good look for Judas Priest, both in sound and in actual how they looked. Like, they looked like hippies. And the music was just hippie music, too. Like, it was really, really bad. My computer, I almost unplugged it. Anyway, but yeah, Rock-A-Rolla was really terrible, and it was definitely not Judas Priest. It wasn't even, like, Blueprint Judas Priest. It was just, like, a 70s hippie band, and it was just really bad. But yeah, Rock-A-Rolla is really terrible, and that's why it's number 18. At number 17, hold on, I have it here. Oh yeah, Stained Class. Another album that I don't own a physical copy of. It's bad. It's not as it's not it's not 70s cringe like Rock-A-Rolla, but it is a very bad album. I mean, it's just the songwriting's pretty bad. The songs are boring and just really forgettable. And yeah, it's just another really bad album. But yeah, number 17 is Stained Class. Um, at number 16, let's see, I have a list here. Hold on. Number 16. Oh yeah, number 16 is Killing Machine. This one's another really bad one. It's very boring. It came out the same year as Stained Class, I think, which is odd. Because Stained Class came out in, I think it was, 78, and Killing Machine also came out in 78. So, yeah, I don't know what happened there. But, yeah, it's also really bad. Again, very boring. Production's very dumb. And, not dumb, but the production's very dull. That's what I meant to say. It's very dull. It just doesn't sound good. The songs are boring. None of them are catchy or anything at all. But yeah. Killing Machine at number 17. At number 16, so what have I number? Wait. No, yeah, it was at number 16. Yeah, sorry. Stained Class was at 17. Killing Machine is at number 16. Alright, I'm at number 15 now. At number 15, let's see, hold on, I have my list here. 15, not in order. At number 15, okay, I do actually own a physical copy of this. Alright. At number 15 is Sad Wings of Destiny. Now, this album is not bad, but it is boring. Like, it is very, very boring. The only song I find any enjoyment out of whatsoever is, The Ripper. But it's not my ideal version. I say it's good, but it's just sort of okay. But the Ripper, the only version that I actually enjoy of the Ripper is when Tim Ripper Owens sings it live. Not just because of the fact that he's named after this, like his nickname is from the name of the song, but he just sings it a lot better than Rob Halford ever could. But yeah, this version is just okay. But yeah, overall this album is boring, but the song Ripper is okay. Yeah, put that down there. Where am I at? Hold on. I'm at 15 now. Hold on. Number 15. Okay, I'm at number 14. Number 14. Where did I put number 14? Hold on. I have a list here, but it's not in order. It's in chronological order instead of number order. Hold on. 14. Ah. Number 14 is another one that I don't own a physical copy of, and that's Redeemer of Souls. It's just sadly a product of modern production and how terrible an album can turn out because of that. I mean, the songs sound okay. I do really like the song March of the Damned, but I don't know. Just other songs, I guess, are ruined because of modern production, and it just doesn't sound too good. But it's not terrible. All right, number 15. What do I have at number 15? Um, sorry, number 12. I'm all messed up. Hold on. 14. Number 13 is another one. Actually, hold on. I do own a physical copy of this one. At number 13 is the most tolerable of the 70s albums. Sin After Sin. This is, yeah, like I said, this is the most tolerable. I am able to listen to like a few songs from here. Most of the album, just like with the rest of their 70s albums, is pretty boring, except for two songs. There are two songs that I actually do really like. Starbreaker and Dissonant Aggressor. Those are really good songs. But unfortunately, the rest of the album is pretty boring and very forgettable. But yeah, that's at, number 13? Yeah, at number 13. At number 12 is... Yeah, there we go. At number 12 is Demolition. Definitely the lesser of the two Ripper Owens studio albums. There's only really one good song on this album. Hell is Home is an amazing song, but unfortunately the rest of the songs are very all over the place. Like, I think the main reason why this album suffers is because they try to do so many different styles of metal in one album, to the point where it just feels like a confused album. Like, it feels like it doesn't know what it wants to be. But yeah, I mean, Hell is Home is an amazing song, one of my favorite Judas Priest songs of all time. Unfortunately, it's on an album where the rest of the album suffers because it has an identity crisis of sorts. Again, they tried to do so many different styles of metal with a lot of these songs, and it just feels like a very clustered and just chaotic album. Yeah, but yeah, that's at number 12. Number 12. Yeah. Alright. Alright. Number 11 is... There we go. Nostradamus. This one you have to be in the right mood for. Like, even I'm a very patient person, I get to sit down and listen to a long album. But this one, even with this one, I have to be in the right mood for it. Like, it's a very long album. It's like almost a 3-hour album, and has like 23 songs, including the preludes that are on here. It just feels like, and this is probably feels the least Judas Priest to me, besides their 70s stuff. This is not, people say, oh, sounds like power metal. And no, it does not sound like power metal to me. For me, it sounds more like progressive metal than anything, like experimental progressive metal. But I don't know, it just doesn't sit with me well that much. I mean, it's not terrible, but I do find myself skipping this one a lot when I am listening to Judas Priest, the Judas Priest discography. I do skip this album quite a lot. But I mean, there's a few good songs on it, like Prophecy is a good song, Revelations is a good song, Pestilence and Plague is great, and Death, and then Visions is a great song. But it's just bogged down by the rest of the songs being just kind of meh. And then the runtime is pretty ridiculously long, too. But yeah, that's at number 11. At number 10... What do I have at number 10? Oh yeah, at number 10 is British Steel. British Steel could have been better. I mean, I do think it had a lot of promise, but unfortunately, like with a lot of these so far on the list, they just there's a lot of really boring songs. I mean, I love Breaking the Law, although I do prefer the Rick Owens version a bit more. I love United. I love Living After Midnight. I actually like both this version and the Rick Owens version equally. And then I love the bonus track Red, White, and Blue. Those are the songs I just mentioned are amazing. But unfortunately, the rest of the songs are very forgettable. Judas Priest haven't like they're starting to form their signature sound. But they haven't gotten it just yet. But yeah, this is at number 10. At number 9 is another one I don't own a physical copy of. Point of Entry. Point of Entry is a very commercial, mainstream sounding album. But I actually do think it's okay. You know, I do think it's better than British Steel, even though it's very commercial. But I don't know. I'm definitely out of all the ones that I don't own yet. Out of all the 5 I don't own, this is definitely the one that I will pick up at some point because I do sort of enjoy it. I think it's an okay album. But yeah, I don't have much to say about it other than I wasn't expecting it to be as likable as it is. Desert Plains is probably my favorite song from that album. But yeah. At number 8. At number 8 is Screaming for Vengeance. An extremely overrated album, but not as overrated as something like Sad Wings of Destiny. Like, that's probably the most overrated Judas Priest album of all time. But this is definitely another overrated one, but not as overrated. I do think it has some good moments. Like, I do really like Hellion / Electric. Like, Hellion and Electric Eye should have been like one track. Like, they should have put it together because they are supposed to be together. But Hellion and / the Electric Eye is an amazing instrumental / song. Like, Hellion, Electric Eye, amazing, great way to start off an album. And then Bloodstone is pretty good, but unfortunately, again, the rest of the album kind of is boring. Even the title track, I just don't really care for. But the opening to this album is amazing. I don't understand why the rest of the songs are just pretty boring, you know? Like, the opening's just so good. But, yeah, unfortunately, the rest of the album kind of meh. But yeah, that's number 8. It's back. Oh, that almost all fell over. But yeah. Number 7 is Angel of Retribution. This one, even though I didn't really give it that high of a rating with my review, I do think it is better than the ones I just mentioned, like Judas Rising, Angel, Hellrider, and Loch Ness are really good songs. They do hold up the album pretty well, but it just, yeah, the rest of the songs are just kind of boring, but yeah. I mean, I do think this album's okay. I think this is an okay album. I just don't think it's great. I don't think it's like the comeback album that everyone says it is. Like, yeah, it's Rob Halford's first album in a long time, ever since Painkiller. Like, at that point in time. But I do think it is as an album, as a Judas Priest album, it's okay. But as a comeback album for Rob Halford, it's just meh. You know, like, they could have done a lot better. But yeah, that's at number. What did I say? It was 7. Yeah, number 7. At number 6. Number 6 is Turbo. I do really enjoy a couple songs on this album. Turbo Lover, I love. It's a great song. Very cheesy, but very good. Duh, 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 duh. Rock You All Around the World, again, really cheesy, but really good. Um, Wild Nights, Hot and Crazy Days, same thing, cheesy, but good. Hot for Love is one that I've just recently sort of started liking. And then Reckless, one of my favorite Judas Priest songs of all time. But yeah, this is definitely like I will admit this is sort of where heavy metal started to go downhill quite a bit for a long, long time. This was the fall of heavy metal. Studios were starting to favor glam metal rather than heavy metal. So glam metal was getting all the attention, and really the only ways for a lot of heavy metal bands at the time to stay in the studio's favor was to go more commercial and slightly glam metal style, which did save Judas Priest and actually did. I mean, Judas Priest went more glam metal than Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden went more progressive, and I think that's what they're able to save themselves with that. Whereas Judas Priest couldn't really go progressive at the time, so they went with the glam metal route, and it worked. Like again, progressive worked for Maiden, whereas glam metal at the time worked for Priest. I mean, but yeah, thankfully they went back to their more hardcore metal style. But yeah, this one is has its great moments. It really does. But yeah, that's at number 6. Back really quick. Uh, okay. At number 5. Number 5 is Ram It Down. This is amazing. Definitely a lot faster pace, a lot slightly more back to what Judas Priest was before Turbo. They still have they still have a little bit of the commercial flair to them. Like they're still a bit more commercial, still a little bit safe, as it were. But they definitely did have a little bit of their signature style back. Um, I do really like the songs that really make the album good for me are the title track "Ram It Down," amazing, fast paced, really hard hitting song. Heavy Metal is a good song, although I do prefer the Rip Owens version better. Um, Come and Get It's a really cool, really good song. I'd say, and then Hard as Iron is my favorite song from the album. Again, really hits you fast, really hits you hard. Um, don't take that out of context. Anyway, um, uh, Blood Red Skies is a really good song. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, there's some pretty bad songs on the album too. Like, Love Zone is pretty terrible. Um, I'm a Rocker is pretty bad. The cover of Johnny Be Good is very hilariously bad, but it's not so bad it's good. It's just so bad it's laughable. And then Love You to Death is pretty bad, and Monsters of Rock is pretty terrible. But the songs that are good on this album are really, really good. They really hold up the album. And I love the artwork too. I'm pretty sure this is the same artist who did the artwork for Painkiller. The styles are very, very similar to the point where I'm pretty sure it's the same artist. But yeah, it's at number 5. Um, all right, number 4. Speaking of Painkiller, Painkiller's at number 4. Now, originally, this was like back when I was starting to get into Judas Priest. This was my favorite album. But as I listened to more and more of the sorry, when I was listening to more, but when I was starting to get more and more, listening to more and more of their discography, certain albums were more favorable to me. Like, oh, I liked them a lot more than this one. But this is still good. Like, I still really love this album. It's held up for the most part. Like, Painkiller is an absolute metal anthem. I love it. Hell Patrol is really awesome. Um, uh, Leather Rebel's pretty cool. Like I sort of fell out of favor of that one, but some of these songs I kind of got stuck in a rut, sort of like meh. But now I love them again. Like Leather Rebel's really good. Metal Meltdown is pretty good, although I do prefer the Rip Owens version of that song. Nightcrawler's amazing. And then One Shot at Glory is awesome too. The songs that kind of like didn't hold up well for me are Between the Hammer and the Anvil, All Guns Blazing, A Touch of Evil, and Battle Hymn. But the rest of the songs are still really, really, really good. Definitely at that time the heaviest Judas Priest album. They were going more of the industrial metal slash thrash metal route, and it worked for them. It really, really worked for their kind of music. They did an amazing job. But yeah, Painkiller's at number 4. Hold on. Okay, at number 3. Number 3 is Firepower. Oh, okay. I thought I broke it for a second, but no, it's fine. Anyway, number 3 is Firepower. What an amazing album. This is the album that got me into Judas Priest. This is the first Judas Priest album I ever listened to. Like, I already told you guys in, like, my review of this one, how, the way I discovered Judas Priest, like, I had heard their name before, but I'd never really listened to them. And, one day I was at Barnes & Noble, I saw this album, picked it up, brought it home, listened to it, and it was just amazed by it. But yeah, it's the first Judas Priest album I ever heard, so it does have a soft spot in my heart. I absolutely love it. Definitely harkens back to their earlier stuff, like definitely like with Painkiller. Painkiller and even like bits and pieces sound like stuff from the Jugulator album. Not really vocal wise, but like certain guitar bits here and there, and the overall feel of certain songs do sound like Jugulator songs. But yeah, it has a really cool mix of feels. Like it has like you could like tell like there was like stuff that harkens back to Painkiller album, Jugulator album, even like Defenders at some points. Like but yeah, it's just so good. There's only like what four or five songs on here that I don't like. Those would be Never the Heroes, Evil Never Dies, Children of the Sun, Lone Wolf, and Sea of Red. Those are the only songs from the album I don't like, but everything else is amazing. I'd say my 3 favorites. I know my top favorite, my absolute favorite never changes, but my 3, like the other 2 do change from time to time. But at this moment in time, my 3 favorites from this album are Lightning Strike, Necromancer, and Rising from Ruins. But yeah, just an overall awesome, epic album. It's just an amazing thing that this far into their career, on their 18th studio album, they were able to put out something that is as good as some of their older stuff, some of their classic stuff. But yeah, Firepower's at number 3. Hold on. Okay. At number 2 is Defenders of the Faith. Their best 80s album, and it's a classic for a reason. The only fault of this album is that the last 3 songs are very forgettable, but the rest of the album is amazing. Like, it starts off with Free Will Burning, which is an amazing opener, one of their best songs they've ever done. Jawbreaker's awesome too. Rock Hard Ride Free is definitely one of the 2 that are the most commercial songs, but still really, really good. And then The Sentinel. My favorite Judas Priest song of all time is, again, Sentinel. I mean, and it's my favorite metal anthem of all time. It's just an iconic song, something that just will never cease to amaze newcomers to metal. And then Love Bites, the vampire song, is really, really cool. Eat Me Alive is awesome. Some Heads Are Gonna Roll, the most commercial song in this album, is still really good. But yeah, just the last 3 songs are not that good. Like Night Comes Down, Heavy Duty, and then the title track, Defenders of the Faith. But I mean, like I said, the rest of the album makes up for those 3 really forgettable songs. And then also, I mean, look at this artwork too. Like, look at the battalion. That's just awesome looking. And then the logo is actually really cool too. But yeah. Defenders of the Faith is number 2. And number 1 is one that I think a lot of people, if for whatever reason you haven't watched some of my other videos where I do mention this particular album, will be surprised that I put it as number 1. But at number 1, my favorite Judas Priest album, and in my opinion, the best studio album they've ever released, Jugulator. I love this album. Now, for those of you who are like, why? Well, I mean, I'm more of a fan of the darker side of metal, you know, like like old school death metal, you know, even melodic death metal, like, and then black and thrash metal. I'm a fan of the darker side of metal, the more sinister side. So maybe that's the reason why this album vibes with me the best, because it is basically the darkest, most sinister album Judas Priest has ever put out. And Ripper Owens is amazing. Like, this album wouldn't have been. I don't think Rob Halford could have done justice to this album if he sang on it. Like, this is definitely something that only Ripper Owens could ever pull off. In terms of a dark, sinister, all out of control, like evil sounding Judas Priest album. You know, I don't think Rob Halford could have pulled the songs on this off that well. But yeah, the title track is amazing. Like, the only 2 songs that are like, there's only 2 songs that are bad, Decapitate and Brain Dead, but everything else is amazing. I love it. I'd say my 3 favorites are the title track, Jugulator, Abductors, and Cathedral Spires. But yeah, I mean, and then the artwork is pretty good, although for some stupid reason they decided to zoom in on it, so it's all pixelated now. But I mean, but still, it's an amazing album. I absolutely love it. My favorite Judas Priest album of all time, and in my opinion, the best thing they've ever done. Yeah. So, hold on. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who are wanting to get the Jugulator album, I actually recently checked the price on Amazon, and believe it or not, they cranked the price up even more. Like, originally it was like $100, but then for some reason when I got it, it was like 70. Put it down to like 75. I got it for 75. But then recently, like, I checked like the other day, and I thought it would be like maybe 100 as it was last time I checked. But yesterday I checked again because I was thinking about getting it for a friend. But it's like $114 now. I'm like, hell, really? I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could find it in mint condition for around only like $70 or $80, maybe even $50 on eBay. Yeah, eBay seems to be a lot less greedy in terms of their prices, and a lot more generous too. Um, Amazon's just become a house of greediness in terms of sellers. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Weird rant aside. I don't know, I go on rants a lot, but anyway, yeah, Jugulator. My favorite Judas Priest album and the best. But yeah, anyway, that's it for this video. This is going to be the only video I upload today. I just don't feel like uploading any other videos today. I don't really have anything. I don't really have anything to any more videos to. I don't have any ideas really. That's the I don't know. I just kind of run out of ideas, and I probably won't upload again until I actually get another album, which won't probably be until the 28th, maybe. I am expecting at least 2 things by the 28th. Well, 2 albums said the 28th to like September, like 4th or something. But yeah, don't expect many. Expect maybe some like other kinds of videos, like but don't expect any album reviews until at least the 28th. But yeah, so that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.